Well, hello everyone. Gosh. I don't actually know how things are working. I'm having a bit of a faff trying to get this set up. I don't actually even know if you can see me right now, or if you can hear me, or whatever. But I am sort of thought I would try and do a live stream, and it's getting all confusing and all the rest of it. So I need to still do some setting up and configuring of things. So let's see. Ah, golly. I don't know what's streaming live at the moment. Look, I'm really sorry guys, I didn't actually mean to go live just yet. This is kind of embarrassing, and because I got two-factor authentication, every time I try and get something working, Google sends me a text and all the rest of it. So oh golly, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but I'll be with you hopefully in a couple of minutes. Premature live streaming. Oh gosh, yes, I'm doing a bit of that at the moment. Premature live streaming. So what I was actually wanting to do tonight is actually do... Oh, wrong password. Gosh. Frankly, I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. Come on, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Right, let's start again, shall we? Right, I can actually take these off because these are completely superfluous. Here I am. What I thought I'd do tonight is do obviously a live stream, but I wanted to talk about some of the instruments that I've acquired recently, some cool things that I've been acquiring recently. I'll answer some of the questions that are on this side that come up, and hopefully do a little bit of interaction. One of the things that I've been trying to do for the last half hour, just setting things up, was the ability to have my microphone so I could talk and then play and have both of the volumes set correctly. Unfortunately, I tested that just saving to a local file and then listening to it and whatever, and that seemed to work. And then I tried to push it live, and it actually went public instead of unlisted and all the rest of it. So basically, I'm just messing around with life and whatever. So I've got a couple of goodies that I want to show you. First is this. This here is obviously a cornet. And this is the cornet, a cornet that I acquired really recently. I managed to get it secondhand extremely cheaply. It is a 1979 Boozy and Hawkes Sovereign. It is the round stamp model. It's got the round Boozy and Hawkes Sovereign stamp here. And I think this is absolutely an exceptional instrument. The valves work wonderfully. They could perhaps do with having the felts updated. The only thing wrong with it is that the spring for the third slide trigger is broken, so you do anything, it doesn't return itself. The little spring in there is broken. However, I have bought a new spring for $8 and am just waiting for it to arrive. So this is, I think, the first genuine or the first type of cornet that was actually marketed as a sovereign. There's now been 2 or 3 revisions of it. We've got this sort of style. We have one, the next generation, which is what I play in one of the bands, in the band that I conduct. When I have to play cornet, I play that one. And then there's the new Besson Sovereign series that is out now. But this is sort of the genesis of it. And it's got a couple of interesting features, little quirks that we don't see anymore. Firstly, the thumb trigger for the first valve tuning slide cants off to the side here. Instead of it being just a simple, where am I pointing, straight up and down trigger in the middle here, it actually branches out to the side. And the idea for why it does that is so that you can have your left hand thumb on the first valve where you might expect it to be, and then you use with your right hand, you have your finger on the trigger here. Unfortunately, not all people play that way. I actually use my left finger to articulate that trigger when I play cornet, and with this one, because it's canted out to the right, I sort of have to retrain how I work that. So that's one of the first weird things that's going on. And the second one is that the third valve tuning slide is a ring here. On newer sovereigns, they have a trigger like the first valve mechanism I just showed you, but on the third valve, on this particular one, it is a ring. So that's just, you know, another thing to get used to. Gee, there's a lot of people saying some rather unnice things in the comments. So, look, I don't want people to have an argument about, oh, this instrument's better than the other, and blah, blah, blah. Don't want to hear any of that. This is not the place to have an internet argument about who's got the longest lead pipe or something like that. So try to keep the comments just to things that are sort of semi-relevant and nice. Otherwise, I'll end up blocking and getting rid of comments. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to spend my time moderating the comment section. But anyway, the one of the things that I tried to do with this live stream was the ability for me to be able to play at, something else has got the longest lead pipe. Who cares? I don't care about that. One of the things that I had wanted to try and do today was the ability to have apply scene changes, was the ability to be able to play and have some screen sheet music up on the screen, and have the microphone level set right, and have all the chat stuff. So I'm going to try and switch to that now, and we'll see how that goes. If the audio is all out of whack and out of kilter, then I'm very sorry. Then this might have to be a bit short-lived, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. So the piece of sheet music that I'm going to have up on the screen is Bach's Bardeneri. And so we'll see what that sounds like. All right. Comments are saying no sound. All right, let's see what's going on in the world. I'll just turn the sound up slightly, and we'll try that again. Preview editor file client, so that's fine. Alright, let's try doing that again. And if I scroll down, so that, the other trouble is without the spring on here, this sort of falls out. The things that you'll notice is hopefully the sound of this comes through. It is a reasonably nice sound. I'm not a great cornet player. I don't have that really sexy, juicy cornet sound. I've just got an average cornet sound. And you'll also know that I make a lot of mistakes when I play. And when I record videos and I've got the opportunity to, record something several times, I don't obviously have that when I'm playing live. But because I swap around instruments a lot, my lip, when I go to actually play a proper instrument, it isn't very good. So that's about the best I can do. But that's an instrument that I've got, and I think that's, I like it. I like playing it, and I was really staggered that I got it for the price that I did. Now let me just go and grab something else. Actually, I've got a couple more things I want to show you. Give me a sec. Right, I'm back. A few things that I want to show you. I got this back the other day. I sent this away to get some work done on it. This is a 110-year-old CG Con trombone, and I've done a video on this previously. It's got the gold wash bell on it, so it all looks nice and sexy and all the rest of it. And the rest of it's pretty nice too. Oh, excuse me. And I got it sent away because I've got a person who does a lot of instrument restorations for me, and he's done this one, and he's actually got it pretty nice. The slide didn't work at all before. It works now. It's a little bit noisy, but it falls down from its, of its own volition and things. And I was going to play it, but I don't really have a lot of room to play that. But let me just see if I can find some sheet music here, and I'll put that up on my screen. Oh, what have I done? Sorry, I pressed enter and I didn't mean to do that. Right, let's cut over to this. I don't know if you could hear any of that or whatever, but that was a really brief extract or something out of the Bluebells of Scotland, but played on the this 110-year-old CG Con trombone that I've just had worked on. I need to figure out some way or the right sort of lubricant to use on really old trombone slides. So that's just something I need to do. So there's been a few questions that I'm seeing asked. There's a time of day. Yeah, it's the time of day. This recording will be, this live stream will probably be available for people to listen to at a later time. And I did this without any announcement or anything like that. All the other live streams I've done were early in the morning, my time, earlier in the morning my time, and they didn't work well for people, so I'm just trying this as a different option. Jazz. A lot of people ask questions about jazz. I'm not a huge fan of jazz. The sort of improvisation-y stuff and people just playing random things, it doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't do anything for me emotionally. I don't like it. But just standard, you know, swing, normal pieces like that, I like that. I've got no problem with that at all. But the thing where you stop for, you know, you play 30 seconds of recognizable melody and 16 minutes of people just standing up and go like that, doesn't, and then 30 seconds of something else, that doesn't mean anything to me either. So, you know, that's my feelings on jazz and all the rest of it. That's just what it is for me. Have I ever played in the pit in the musical? Yes, a number of times. Probably for at least 4 musicals, maybe 5. So yeah, I've done a fair amount of that. Trombone, trumpet, cornet, a whole bunch of different things. It's not too bad. I enjoy it. It's a bit cramped with the usually, or all the pits that I've played in have been short on space, so it's not been particularly great, the whole walking in and setting up and whatnot. But I've done it a few times. What's the pit? So when you do musicals and things, there is normally you've got the stage, and then you've got a pit, literally a pit. Well, often a pit, or sometimes just the space between the stage and the first row. Some of the musicals I've done, there has been a literal pit that is sort of below floor level, not, you know, like a story below, but just sort of sunk down somewhat, and sometimes it is just the space in front of the stage. It's referred to as an orchestra pit in musicals. Anyway, the next thing that I want to show you is this. Those people who follow... Oh, Adam. Oh, making me all flutter. Just a note about donations on this. Whilst I don't want to say no to donations for obvious reasons, YouTube takes 30% of anything that you give me. So if you donate to me via Patreon, or I think there's a tip jar thing on my Facebook page, then I get a much higher percentage of that. But if you want to donate to me on YouTube, then that's just unbelievable. I really appreciate that quite sincerely. So this here is a Harrelson modular mouthpiece kit. It's called the 5mm, and this is something that they have sent me to try out and have a go with and do some videos on. I'm going to do a proper video onto it, so this isn't going to be just like a review or a demonstration. This is just going to be simply being an overview of what it comes with. So those people who follow me on Facebook would have seen a photo of this. So this is the first time that I'm showing it live. Unfortunately, this is balsa wood or some sort of really light wood, and it's been laser cut out, so they have a laser that does everything. So it's actually quite smelly, and something that, you know, I don't really like. But yeah, and it's obviously designed for people a bit more sophisticated than I am. But anyway, so I got this open, and it comes with a number of pieces. I don't want to tip it up too high because they'll fall out. But here we've got a selection of rims that you can have, a selection of cups, a selection of throats that goes here and here, some nuts, and then some back bores. Now, this isn't a complete kit because I actually have a selection of parts assembled in my trumpet next to me, and here it is. This is a completed sort of trumpet based on the various bits, and they are really, really cool. This body here is a really sexy, very heavy body. In fact, if I put this into a trumpet, it changes the center of balance quite dramatically. So if I put, you know, if I hold the normal center of balance is sort of just above the third valve, but if I put this very heavy mouthpiece in, the center of balance now becomes sort of halfway between the second and the first and second valves, or something like that. That's probably not the best way of demonstrating it, but it was really quite substantial. So we've got the nut that I'll take off, and then we've got this part here, which is the back bore. I might have to get the tools that they include to do this. Yeah, give me a sec. Right, so, no, don't spam while I'm gone. They send you a bunch of tools. These are also all laser cut out of cheap, this sort of wood, and though it's reasonably solid. Oh, yuck! Who would say something like that? Remove that person. That is quite gross. Anyway, so you can put things like this. Actually, there's some more things here, and these are some more ones. So what we would do is, what tool do I want to use for this? Here we go. Put this in here like that, and then you can just twist this, and the whole thing will come out. And so this is the back bore. This is the bit of the trumpet that actually sticks into the trumpet shank. And so the rest of this, we can take the cup, the rim off, and that brings the throat and the cup with it. So this is the body of it, the things that just everything sits into. And then we've got the rim here, we've got the cup and the throat. Now the thing that's really cool with this set, one of the many things that are really cool with this set, is that the throats have got rubber O-rings on them. They've got these little rubber O-rings here so that air doesn't leak out. I reviewed on my channel quite a while ago, it was a couple of years ago, I reviewed a really yucky, cheap Chinese mouthpiece, modular mouthpiece kit, and it was absolutely rank. It was awful. All of the things leaked. You had to put PTFE tape around it to try and get some semblance, and then even when you did get it going, it was just awful. But the beauty with this kit is that everything fits absolutely beautifully, and instead of having to choose 3C size, 7C, 5C, 12C, whatever, you can literally choose everything right down to the very last millimeter. So I have got 3 different throats. So I've got these 2 throats and the one that's still attached to this. And for instance, these ones have different sizes. There's 145 thousandths of an inch for one diameter on this particular one. This one is 139 thousandths of an inch, I think, on the actual inner throat itself. 20 millimeters long and 20 millimeters long. Is that millimeters? No, it's more than that. Or something. But everything has got just numbers on it referring to different sizes and things. This one here is got a 33 millimeter ending on it. A 33. I don't know what unit these are in, just sizes or whatever, but this one's slightly bigger, this one's slightly smaller. This cup is slightly smaller than this cup, and this rim is slightly smaller than this rim. So what we can do is basically work out what works best for us, screw it in there, put that in there, put this in here, and then put the chosen throat. Which one is this one? Put the chosen throat in the base, and then screw it all together with the nut that comes with it, and you've got a brilliant mouthpiece. And if you find that this doesn't work for you, then you can simply just change the pieces out for something slightly bigger, slightly smaller, different cut profile, all the rest of it. And this mouthpiece is absolutely exquisite, absolutely exquisite. All the craftsmanship on the mouthpiece itself is just brilliant. Now, with mouthpieces and modular mouthpieces, though, the idea behind this is that you can find out what works best and most perfectly for you and the sort of playing that you do. Obviously, you are not generally going to want to carry around a modular mouthpiece and halfway through a rehearsal quickly unscrew one rim and screw in another rim and things like that. That's not really what this is designed for. It's just designed to get what works the best for you and go from there. So those of you who have joined in late, this is the Harrelson 5mm modular mouthpiece kit, something that they have sent me to have a bit of a play with. It's pretty expensive, but this sort of stuff is right high up there, professional grade. You're trying to squeeze every last fraction of a % out of your ability to play. It is just incredible. If you search for so there's a question, what's the point of the body if the cup and throat fit within the body? You've got the cup and the throat screw to this top part of the body, and you've got the backbore that screws to this part of the body. If you didn't have the body, then the two halves wouldn't attach to each other. But the weight of the body also helps focus the sound and changes the tonal quality, and also some of the partials, how they present themselves on a spectrum analysis. So it's very important. But that's something that is, as I said, right up there for the professionals. I wouldn't have bought this myself because I'm not right up there as a paid professional musician. But the fact that they've thought to send me one, and they actually consider my content worthy to have featured something like this is a real honour for me. So search for Harrelson trumpets. The guy that does a whole lot of this building has got his own YouTube channel. It's a bit of a hidden gem because there aren't a lot of Harrelson, Harrelson. Yes. Some of his trumpets that he creates are just absolute works of art. So I recommend you go have a look at that stuff. It's pricey. It's the sort of thing that if you're a real musician, you'll have pin-up posters on your bedroom walls of it. But yeah, that's something that's really cool. So that's something else that I'm going to be doing videos on in the future. I'm hoping to also get a set for cornet as well, so that will be pretty cool. There's actually one button that I've got presented to me that is play and add, and I'm just going to press it just to see what it does. I'm presuming it's going to play and add, but I have no idea what that's going to look like. So let me just press that. Based on complex criteria, some of your viewers will see an ad. Keep on streaming. Okay, so some of you might see, I don't know. It's a way of paying the bills, so we'll just see what that does. Next thing I want to show you is this here. This here is a trumpet that I got from eBay a little while ago. It was an absolutely useless, unplayable condition that had a completely caved in bent dint here. The bell was all creased and was not round. It was all sort of flattened and everything. And I'm not a very good trainer, repairer or anything like that, but I've spent some time at least getting it in the relative shape that it should be. But what makes this interesting is that this is a German Bolland and Fuchs, however that's pronounced, Bolland and Fox. I'll show this up here. It might actually be reversed. I don't know if you'll see it or not. Yeah, whatever. It's Bohland and Fuchs. It was a German instrument made in Graslitz, wherever that is. And this trumpet is in the key of F. It is not a B-flat rotary trumpet. It is what's called an SARV, side action rotary valves, which means the rotors are on the side. You play it like this. It is in the key of F, as I said, and made in Germany, as I also said. Some of the interesting things about this is that it doesn't have any spit keys. It doesn't have any water keys. You'd expect one potentially on the third valve, but definitely on the main tuning slide here, but there just isn't one. So what you would have to do is every time this fills up with spit, fluid, hydraulic fluid, whatever happens to be in this instrument, is that you have to take the main tuning slide out, empty it onto the ground, and then because the tuning slide sort of on the side goes around in a loop, you actually have to empty this, tip it upside down, give the instrument on the side, give it a hoik over to the other side, then tip it upside down again and make a bit of a mess. It is a little bit inconvenient, but there is a school of thought that says that having spit valves and so forth on an instrument interrupts the airflow. It adds resistance and things like that. So you'll see a lot of French horns, for instance, don't have spit valves. It's usually sometimes because French horns have a very narrow diameter of tubing through it, that just adding that little bit of extra resistance and impedance or whatever affects the tone a lot more than some bigger instruments, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So the tuning slides actually work pretty well on this instrument. I need to re-lubricate them, but they open and close pretty well. This works pretty well as well. The only thing that's sort of broken beyond my skills to repair it is that the first rotor, the spring, and these clockwork springs up in here, the first one is really, really weak. So I've actually got a rubber band that I have tied around the bottom here and around the top here, so that just sort of tensions that, and that just makes that a little bit better. So it works fully now. None of the valves worked when I got it. All of the things were just in an awful condition, dints and things. So I'm actually somewhat proud that this instrument now works. So I will find something to play, and I'll play it. So let me just see if I can find some sheet music that I've got here that I've actually played before. Oh, what's this one? Let's do this. Here's a piece that I've played before. So this is the tune Napoli. that's a bit of a that's the cadenza that normally goes with this. Right, so that is the theme and variations on Napoli. On this Boland and Fox, Fuchs, whatever it's pronounced, however it's pronounced, F trumpet. The mouthpiece that this uses, or the mouthpiece that I'm using with this, is a Yamaha size 37. I don't know where I got it from. Well, I've had this one, it's just in my bin of mouthpieces. I have about 50 or so mouthpieces for various instruments and things, and so that's what I use. That's what I've been playing that on. A trumpet mouthpiece also fits, and yeah, so that's pretty cool. I said I can't tongue fast, and I can't tongue very fast compared to some people. My tonguing, I've found ways of making it appear as though I can tongue quickly, but I'm not a very good tonguist. I'm not. What's the least lewd way I can say that? I'm not very good with my tongue. No, that's not any better. I can't articulate notes very fast, and that's just perhaps something that runs in the family, because I'm like a 7th generation brass player, and my mum and dad, they couldn't tongue fast, my grandparents couldn't tongue fast and things like that. So yeah, it's perhaps something that runs in the family. Really unfortunate, because my tonguing and the fact that I can't tongue very fast relative to, you know, professionals and things is one of the reasons why I didn't pursue music any further. I can double tongue, I can triple tongue, I can do all the techniques, I just can't do them as fast as other people can. Johnny has to go to bed. Well, Johnny, I hope you have a good night's sleep. Don't let the bed bugs bite unless they're undernourished and ask nicely. Will I ever come to America? I really want to come to America. I probably will one day. Not in the near future though, because I've got my daughter. Actually, she just celebrated her first birthday, which was really cool. That was last week we celebrated that, so that was really cool. And another instrument that I've got, oh, Trent, do you still have your Piccolo Trumpet? Yes, I do. It's a Chinese one I bought second-hand on an auction site, actually here in New Zealand. I happened to be down staying with my parents in Oamaru, where they're from, which is sort of down south of New Zealand, and there was a guy in a city even further south where the airport, the main airport was, and he was selling a bass trumpet and a Piccolo trumpet. I bought both. They were both really, really cheap. So yeah. Hawkeye, how old are you? I am now 29. I turned 29 less than a month ago. Yeah, less than a month ago. So this is an instrument that I got even cheaper off a New Zealand auction site, and I actually have recorded done the recording for the video today on this, but that won't be getting uploaded for a little bit, because it takes me a while to edit things and upload them, and work's really busy and stuff. But anyway, this is a instrument that I think is really cool. It's got a really small old style case. It's the sort of, is it leather? I don't know if this is leather or what it is. It's sort of quite solid, but it opens like this. It's got Boozy and Hawkes, 295 Regent Street, London, W at the end, and then the instrument's actually just got this little flap on top that keeps it looking nice and lovely. And there's a whole bunch of pouches at the bottom. Some of these have got packing peanuts in them. We've got a mouthpiece. Good morning from Greece. Wow, I didn't realise I had any greased viewers. Greased? No, that's not going to be right, is it? Greased viewers. Grecian, Greek. That's the word, Greek. Yes. Good morning, Stefano Pi, P, something like that. Mr. Wizcat, do you know how to make my section hate me less? Without knowing what's wrong with you, no, I don't know. Anyway, this is the instrument here. This is a Besson & Co. prototype E-flat soprano cornet made in 1910. So this is a very old instrument, and it's pretty cool. I've also just had this one out at this contact that I know who does a bit of restoration work for me, and I got this back yesterday, so I was pretty excited for this. It isn't in great nick. If I take the valves out, the valves have quite a bit of slop in them, and they're all sort of the raw brass colour. All the plating has worn off, and that sort of contributes it to its wiggle. So it's not in great nick, but it actually, despite that, and despite the fact that the compression in the valves is almost non-existent, you should be getting a pop when you do that, and there isn't a pop unless you do it really quickly. And for all those pansies, that doesn't break or damage the valves, okay? Doing this doesn't really damage the valves. They are made of metal, not paper mache. Just like playing a cornet like this occasionally isn't going to do any damage. These are metal valves. Anyway, but that's not the point. So it doesn't have the greatest compression there and all the rest of it, but all the tuning slides, move in and out. The main tuning slide, as with most soprano cornets, is in the lead pipe. So you undo this wing nut, and then you've got this. And that's your sort of tuning lead pipe. Oh, it's leaking on me. What have I done in my life to deserve that? And the one interesting thing that this has got that I've never seen before on an instrument is that this part here is where your lyre goes. That's really common. But this one has a little wing nut. You can unscrew that wing nut and you can move this along. Or you could take it off entirely. If you move the third valve out, you could take this, let's loosen it a bit more, take that off entirely, so you have no lyre holder. I've never seen that ability, that facility to remove the lyre holder. I've never seen that on an instrument before. I find that quite interesting. But it's neither here nor there. It doesn't really affect the instrument anyway. But what I'll do is I'll try and play this. Now, as I said, I've recorded with this instrument today. This soprano corner is incredibly hard to play. It's a very old instrument. It has a whole lot of resistance. It is very difficult to try and play this. So I'm going to try and see where we go. Let me just see if there are any questions. There's a whole bunch of people from Texas. Great. Are we allowed to say heck on this channel? No, absolutely not. I thought most of Africa did not have internet. I don't know where Africa is. It's probably in Australia. Alright, I'm not overly interested in where people are from. So let me just see if there's a piece of music that I can find that I haven't played before. What about this? Have a look. So this is the Swan out of Saint-Saëns music suite for orchestra. The Swan is actually a recording of this being played properly on an oboe. Is the song that I used to wake up in the morning. But I really like it. The version I've got is in bass clef, so you're going to just have to pretend I was playing a bass clef instrument and it's going to be in the wrong key and the wrong pitch and all the rest of it. But it's the only copy I've got, so I'm going to use that. And doing this without warming up is going to be a bit weird. That's not a particularly lively one, and people are probably going to get bored. So let me find something else that I can play here. So this is a piece that I've referenced a number of times. This is the Slavish Fantasy by Carl something or other. All right, that's not going to be sounding very good. So yeah, this, as I said, this is a very hard instrument to play because of its age, because of the leakiness of the valves, but and the fact that I haven't warmed up or anything. Hey Trent, try to play Flight of the... Oh, do I have the sheet music for Flight of the Bumblebee? Let me see. I think I used to have it. Let me see if I can find it. Chopin, Mozart, Schubert the Bee. What's that? I don't think I've ever... Oh, yeah, Schubert the Bee. Let's not try that one. No. So let me just put this away and pick up another instrument. Do I ever plan on making an F contrabass trombone video? If I ever get an F contrabass trombone, yes, I'd love to. I'd love to do it. And I'd love to get an F contrabass trombone. I don't see a time in the near future, or in the future, where I have it. Where I'll have the money to spend on an F contrabass trombone, but I'd love to play one day. Play it on a Flugelhorn. I've got a few Flugelhorns. I've got this 2-valve Flugelhorn here. I've got a Flugelhorn from the 1890s in a box over there, and I've got my fake Chinese bark Prelude over there, but I don't want to go and grab them at the moment. But let me see, can I remember any of the Carnival of Venice? Let me see. No, I can't really remember the Carnival of Venice well enough to... not the Carnival of Venice, Flight of the Bumblebee. Flight of the Bumblebee. Carnival of Venice, I'll have the music for that. What version do you want? Do you want the Clark's version? Do you want the Arbin's variation? There's the Alan Vizzuti variations. Oh, the Vizzuti variations. Let me see if I can... find that. Alan Vizzuti's one's called Carnival of Venus. It's not actually called Carnival of Venice. Let me see if I can find that in my life. Clark's Carnival of Venice, Arbin's Carnival of Venice. Oh, come on, where is it? Is this it? No, that's something else. Arbin's. It's right at the back of this Arbin's book. Let me see if I can find that. So Alan Vizzuti's version of the Carnival of Venice is stupid. Stupid. In that it is as difficult as it's possible to play, get a piece of music. And I can't obviously play much of it. Particularly without doing some significant practice, but I'll see what I can do. Can't even do that. Sorry, I need to make it bigger. That's all I'm going to try to do. I've never properly tried to learn that piece, and I'm not warmed up or whatever. So that's about as much of it I'm going to do. Do I own a natural trumpet? No, I don't. I've got several bugles of various descriptions. You won't be able to see. There's one up there that's just a standard bugle, and there's one actually right behind me. That's a bugle. It's stuck to the wall. I've also got a couple of American drum and bugle core sort of bugles, like my 2-valve G bugle, soprano bugle here. So that's about right. But yeah, what else can I show you? How about I just answer some questions that I've got, that people have got for me. So ask me some questions, and I will wait for them to show up on my screen, and I will answer them. Thank you everyone for being here. You're making it feel very comfortable after. Oh, you had a nightmare. I'm dreadfully sorry. The best way to, if you do have nightmares or suffer from that, you know, reasonably regularly or something, the best way to get over that is to not go to sleep. I've found. It's the best advice I've got. How do I hang my instruments? Well, I've got a bunch of hooks that are screwed into the walls. Obviously you don't want to screw it into this jib board. I think people call it something else in different parts. We call it jib board here in New Zealand. It's not very structurally strong, so there's a whole bunch of studs behind the wall, and I screw the hooks into that. If there aren't any studs near where I want to hang the instruments, then I dangle them from black string. So you'll see some of these instruments have got string dangling from them. There are hooks up where it's secure, and they just dangle from that. Is what I do there. Can I play on my tuba? My tuba's in its case. Yeah, I'll go get my tuba. Give me, I'll be back in a moment. Alright, so I've got the really big toot, and I've just lost chat again, so let me go and fix that stupid thing. Alright. Oh, have I got a mouthpiece for it? I've got a plastic mouthpiece. Oh, I'll use this. So this is a mouthpiece that I printed out. It's a normal tuba cup and rim and shank on it, but it's got a smaller shank on it, because this is a really old tuba. It's from the late 60s or early 70s, and so I've head, and so it has a really small shank on it. So anyway, this is my tuba. What am I going to play on it though? That people have asked me to grab out my tuba, but they haven't said what they want me to play. So, where's something that's all right for a tuba? How about I just try and find my Napoli again? Or I could play the Bluebells of Scotland again. Let's do that. Somebody I saw, I stopped a few times because people were saying things in the comments, and I was just trying to monitor it to make sure that it wasn't something wrong with the audio levels. So let me. Somebody said something about Chardash, or however that's pronounced. Let me see if I can find my copy, my digital copy of that. There it is. It's called Chardash. So yeah, I'm not playing. I'm not playing how a proper E flat tuba player would read bass clef. It's an E flat tuba that I've got. It's from the 70s, early 70s, late 60s, and I'm reading this as if I was reading a B flat instrument because I don't know it the other way. So let me play Chardash for you. Right, I changed to the F trumpet from the E flat tuba because I was sort of losing clarity on that, and I'm not warmed up or anything like that. Right, so somebody has asked me to play the 2-valve bugle that's up on the wall. Do the valves work? Oh, they work enough. Alright, I'll go grab that. Alright, that was done with much care and dignity. Some valve oil. Can you try to play Oxford Gavotti? I've never heard of that. No, the French horn. The French horns are going to be a little bit too awkward for me to get down without. What you guys don't see is all the stuff I've got in front of me, like instruments, a tuba, euphonium, 2 trombones, cornet, trumpet, a desk, a monitor, and things like that. So me getting down instruments is a little bit precarious. Let me just oil these valves a little bit. So this, I've been trying to get my hands on a 3-valve soprano bugle, soprano G bugle for a while, but I can't find one that's affordable, which is the big problem. So I've only got this 2-valve one. Although you can do a lot of stuff with 2 valves. What on earth is a senpai? Notice me senpai. I don't know what that means. Haggerty's silver polish. Yes, I think they've got some spray silver polish, but I can't get it imported into New Zealand because I've wanted that. Anyway, I need a mouthpiece next, don't I? Where's a trumpet mouthpiece? trumpet mouthpiece, and next thing I need a piece of music to play. That'll do. That's about enough of that mucking around. That can't be pleasant to listen to. I haven't played a G instrument for a couple of years. Well, ever since I got this, really. It's been on my wall ever since. So, yeah, I don't know if anyone heard or was listening to my comments before, but I love to be able to get my hand on a proper G bugle, a 3-valve G soprano bugle at some point. I'm running out of space to put things down now. So look, that is pretty much it for tonight. It's nearly 9 o'clock. It's almost about 9 o'clock. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Somebody's asked, can I play a Flugelhorn, please? The only Flugelhorn I've got is within reach is this 2-valve one here. And it's not got a mouthpiece in it. My mouthpieces are all over there. And my proper Flugelhorn's in a case all over there somewhere. So, no, I'm not going to play a Flugelhorn tonight. And it's about time for me to wrap this up anyway. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. Sorry about all the mucking around and everything at the start of this. I will make the whole of this video public once I get the ability to chop off that first few minutes where I didn't know what I was doing or what was happening in my life. But thank you very much for taking the time to tune in. It's been great to have you here. Please, if you are in a position to donate, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. That would be really, really cool. It really helps me just pay the bills and things like that. I mean, the program that I use for live streaming costs me $25 a month or something like that. So it really helps to have bills paid and things like that. But I really appreciate you taking the time to join in. This was sort of a trial, the whole just doing a random live stream without any announcements or whatever. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time for joining in. I also appreciate that this is not the right time of the day for most people, given by the viewer count and the time that people are saying 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., etc. So I'll know better for next time. Thank you all very much, and yeah, see you next time.